Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It's April 17th, 2017, the 107th day of the year. Mike Pence, the Vice President of the United States of America, is in the demilitarized zone in South Korea, talking tough about North Korea, and I'm going to show you what a puppet show this is. If you've ever heard the term the theater of war, this is it. I'm going to show you why Mike Pence is in South Korea today, April 17th, the 107th day of the year. Today has everything to do with the New World Order, military. We're going to get right into it. This was the headline CNN had up earlier. We're going to take apart both headlines. We're going to start here, though. Pence visits the DMZ. That's the demilitarized zone. The neutral area between North Korea and South Korea, the nations that have a truce, going back to the end of the Korean War, which began June 25th, 1950, George Orwell's birthday. If you don't know George Orwell, we're going to talk more about him. Famous author, wrote a very important book that everyone should read, 1984. So just a little brief, Vice President Mike Pence will visit the demilitarized zone, the highly fortified border between North and South Korea. So he's there right now. DMZ, in the language of gematria, sums to 43. Just like South Korea, just like Civil War. And again, the Korean War was a civil war. The United States backed the South. Russia backed the North. So it was largely U.S. versus Russia, fighting in Korean territory. In case you're not familiar with the Korean War, began shortly after World War II. World War II ended in 1945. The Korean War, the summer of 1950. For the record, South Korea also has the gematria of 137. Very special number to Freemasonry, 137, the 33rd prime. If you're new to my channel, we talk about that number a lot. Washington, D.C. has gematria of 137. The word federal, 33, 137, the 33rd prime. Washington, D.C., built by Freemasonry. Anyhow, with regards to today being April 17th, a date written 17/4 in most parts of the world, that's a lot like 174. New World Order equals 174. The New World Order is an old world order that is a Masonic and Jewish world order. And they absolutely practice gematria, a Jewish language very important to Freemasonry. Again, Freemasonry based in the Old Testament, Jewish history, so major overlap. Today, April 17th, is also the 107th day of the year. Here we are. You know, big military news. You got Mike Pence dressed up in the leather war jacket, reminiscent of George W. Bush, the former puppet-in-chief, you know, the son of a former president. Remember his father on September 11th, 1990, gave the speech about the New World Order, a world freer of terrorism. And then 11 years to the day, 9/11 happened with his son as the president. Then his son went on an aircraft carrier in his leather jacket and said, "Mission accomplished." And the wars hadn't even started yet. Here we are still at war more than a decade later, you know, more than 15 years later. Don't be fooled by the ongoing media propaganda theater show. It's all it ever is. What they tell you should have no credibility with you. If the media has credibility with you, you need to look in the mirror. You need to look real carefully, and you need to say these words just like this. What's wrong with me? What is wrong with me? Because any of you who trust the media have something seriously wrong with you, okay? On September 11th, 2001, if you were paying attention, they told you planes crashed all over the place, 4 of them, but they couldn't find those planes, they couldn't find the passengers, they couldn't find the bodies. But somehow they found, the day of, they found the terrorist passports, their box cutter knives, and their cloth turbans. Could it be any more racist? Could it be any more obviously a lie? You see what I mean? That was what your media told you more than 15 years ago. So if they'd lied to you that blatantly in your face then, what do you think they've been doing every day since? And what do you think they were doing every day before that? That's what I mean. You need to look in the mirror if you don't get it yet and ask yourself that question. What's wrong with me. You know what I mean? So now let's get back to the theater of war. You know, they got Dana Bash over there. Camp Boniface, South Korea. I bet you anything they just made up this camp just for this future planned event here today. Check this out. Camp Boniface, South Korea. Look at the numbers on this. 88, like Trump. You know, we got this whole Donald Trump versus Kim Jung-un theater show. We got 119. Donald Trump announced as the president on November 9th, the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. In Gematria, Berlin Wall equals 45, like Trump, the 45th president. But just notice, the 119, like Donald 119, like All-Seeing Eye, like Master Plan, like Star Red David, like Civil War. This is in the DMZ, the neutral zone between the two nations that have a truce, that were in a civil war. Instigated by the United States and Russia, the military powers of the world. Of the New World Order, I should say. Neither of these nations are sovereign, the United States or Russia. They're not sovereign nations. They're just the, left and right bicep of the New World Order. That's all it is. So these other numbers are interesting too, but we're going to stick with the 88 and 119. I'm going to show you what else is here. If you just take the Camp Boniface, you got Gematria 45. And who's over there today? Mike Pence, the vice president to the 45th president. I pointed out right away when Mike Pence was announced, I said, this might be a sign that Trump's to be the 45th president. Mike Pence 45, forwards and back. And what's comical is the name Donald Trump equals 48, and Mike Pence is the 48th vice president. And none of this is arbitrary. This is all how the puppet show is arranged and planned long in advance. Mike Pence, Donald Trump, Manchurian politicians born and bred to be, to fulfill their roles in the ongoing New World Order puppet show. They call it the demilitarized zone, which has Gematria of 96 like Freemason. Again, the New World Order is a Masonic, Zionist, Jewish world order. Demilitarized zone also has Gematria of 93 like propaganda, and that's what we see rolling out of there today. As for that term, the theater of war, look, Gematria of 74 just like Masonic. And who runs the theater in this nation? Hollywood, run by Zionist Jews, Freemasonry, all of TV, media programming, your government, your money. These are the people running the show, controlling the mind's eye of the masses, instilling beliefs and what to think. There's a reason that symbolism's on our currency. This gang is here to control. And this is how they control, with nonstop fear, intimidation, propaganda. Just look at the stuff that's up here. Manhunt widens to 5 state and Facebook killing. Complete propaganda. Propaganda everywhere you look on the TV. So here's the latest headline. Pence, no more failed policy on North Korea. And where did they get this headline from? It's a 187. 187. Where have we seen this number with the Trump administration? Donald Trump, his GOP convention began July 18th, 18/7, 187 days before Inauguration Day in Washington, D.C. And what's Washington, D.C. equal? 187, just like George Washington. Where was he the night of the election? He was in Rockefeller Plaza with the Rockefeller family. Who's really running this nation? Again, the bankers, the industrialists? Yes. Your whole government's a farce. It's theater. There's a reason DC's on the 77th meridian. The word theater alone equals 77. Our whole government is a puppet show. It always has been. This nation's always been run by Jewish bankers from the beginning, period. That's why our establishment date's 7-4. Remember, Jewish equals 74, Masonic 74, Holiday 74, Independence Day 74, Occult 74, English 74, Gematria 74. Only one of the states sums to 74, the 33rd state. Whole nation set up by Freemasonry, by their ritualistic number practices. And so many people get hung up on my work because they go, I don't get it. What's the point of coding numbers? Stop asking that question. It doesn't matter what the point is. The point is, the people who govern over you, who lie to you every day, this is an important system to them. There's a reason they took down the towers in New York on 911, a number programmed into your mind to mean emergency. Look at where the World Trade Centers were on the 74th meridian. You know, so many people just ask the wrong questions. The question you need to be asking yourself is, why is my media scaring me every day? Why is my government scaring me every day? Why are they telling me we need more wars, more police, while less of everything else? No one's asking those questions. You know? There's a reason the powers that shouldn't be call the masses goy. A goy means a stupid, gullible thing that's easily ruled over. And that's exactly what the populace of the United States is, you know? A stupid, gullible thing that's easily ruled over. You can tell them that you can't find the planes, you can't find the bodies, but somehow you found the paper terrorist passports and the cloth turbans and the box cutter knives. And not a single one of them can even blink an eye, you know? The goy. So Society of Jesus is up here, 187. Ohio 187, time 187. By the way, that Facebook killing, they've changed the name of the man to Robert Godwin Sr. You guys know what story I'm talking about. The other one that's big in the headlines right now, I'll just show you. They changed Robert Goodwin. Now it's Robert Godwin Sr. Robert Godwin Sr. equals 187. You know, Trump had his convention in Ohio 187 days before Inauguration Day. A number associated with killing. A number coded into the name George Washington, who's largely responsible for the genocide of the natives. Robert Godwin Sr., 187, killed in Ohio. You know. Ohio in time, 187 in satanic gematria. The last Republican president, George W. Bush, born on July 6th, the 187th day of the year. So anyway, this morning's headline, 187, news by the numbers, Trump's VP Pence in the demilitarized zone by the numbers. They emphasize failed policy. What stands out about the coding of that emphasized phrase is the 117, the United States of America, 117, Central Intelligence Agency, 117. All presidents are essentially CIA assets, you know, just walking, talking propaganda pieces that control the mind's eye of so many masses. So many people never question the president. They just do whatever the president says, believe whatever the president tells them. Even an orange Oompa Loompa. Donald the Dump Chump. So let's see. Is there anything else to add? Oh yeah, let's talk about Kim Jung-un, who turned 33 years old last year in 2016 and then turned 33 years old again in 2017, according to our media. I got videos documenting the media celebrating him turn 33 in 2016 and this year in 2017. Kim Jong's going to be 33 years old probably next year too. And it's because he is a New World Order puppet as well, you know. North Korea, South Korea, Russia, United States, these are all New World Order nations. So is all of Europe. So is all of North and South America. So is all of Africa. So is this whole globe. The New World Order controls the whole world at this day and age. This is how far they are into their agenda. And they control it by pitting the people of the world against each other. Race, religion, nation, and everything else. But here I want to talk about this New World Order puppet and all that's coded into him. This headline the other day, North Korean missile launch fails, South says. I mean, for 15 years we've gotten this, that North Korea is some big threat to us, then we cover their missile launches and they're always a failure. You see, this is all part of the New World Order joke. This country, again, behind every New World Order propaganda headline is coded gematria. North Korean missile launch fails, South says, sums to 138, what I call the Donald Trump number. Remember, Brexit vote, June 23rd, 2016. Donald Trump was over there in Scotland opening a new golf course. And I pointed out that day, I said, look, we have this surprise vote in the UK. Are we going to get a surprise selection of Donald Trump 138 days later? From the Brexit vote to the U.S. presidential selection, it's not an election, it's all predetermined. The whole vote's a waste of your time, part of the ongoing theater. 138 days later was the vote, and sure enough, Donald Trump named the winner. Born and bred to be the Manchurian president, the Orange Oompa Loompa. 138, Donald Trump versus North Korea. So now let's get into the 1984 piece. Again, they've changed Kim Jung-un's birthday. Last year he was born in 83. This year he's born in 84. Go back and watch the video I put out after the selection of Trump about Donald Trump, George Orwell, and 1984. I said that we're living in George Orwell's novel, Read 1984. Just days after I said that, it became a headline that Amazon's #1 selling book is 1984. As per usual, my work is ahead of the curve of the news, and that's what my work's about. Getting ahead of the media by understanding their propaganda and the planned script they have us living out. I am ahead of the New World Order. I'm exposing to the world what's going on, and people overwhelmingly are showing that they're too slow, they're too chemically dumbed down to grasp my work. That needs to change. Anyway, George Orwell, North Korea, here it is. George Orwell was born June 25th, 1903. He died reportedly January 1st, 1950, just before turning 47. Had he lived to be 47, he would have turned 47 on the beginning of the Korean War. The Korean War began on his birthday, June 25th, 1950. Again, 1984 is about a nation that's always at war overseas. United States of America equals 84. George Orwell was part of the Fabian Society, established in 1884. Fabian has gematria of 33. Remember, 84 is important to Masonry and Zionism. And it's the Freemasons and Zionist Jews who are running the New World Order. So back to Kim, who's now born in 1984. He used to be 83. He's 33 years old for the second year in a row, according to the media. Look at what's coded into his name. Kim Jung-un. His name in gematria sums to 42 and 114, just like World War. And this headline was from Sunday Korean time, that this missile launch failed. This is all propaganda. It's all war games. Sunday war games, you know. Then Sunday our time, we get the headlines about Mike Pence being in North Korea, talking tough. Talking tough against the fictitious boogeyman. Also, in this reporting, instead of using the word missile, they use the word projectile, which I never caught before. Projectile has the gematria of 113. Remember, that's the number of dishonesty. Mainstream 113, dishonest 113, green screen 113. Who's the master of the green screen? George Lucas, who came out with the film THX 1138, his first film, 113 in the title. It's about a future police state, people ruled over by tyranny. Screens, a lot like 1984. The word perjury is 113. The word bullshit is 113. Again, watch the movie, Network, about how the news is all bullshit, manufactured terrorism. Even fiction's 113. And that's what we get. Straight fiction, every day in the news to make real agenda that has real negative consequences on real people's lives. We were lied to about the reasons for war in Afghanistan and Iraq. A lot of young people were sent over there. You know, some people died. Some people, you know, lost their minds. Look at all the people that have come back from having their lives wasted in those needless wars that are depressed, sick. This fictitious news creates real-world propaganda, or real-world problems, excuse me. Also, one last point about George Orwell's death and the start of the Korean War in 1984 and what we're now living out 33 years later in 2017. From the date George Orwell died to what would have been his birthday or the start of the war was 156 days. And remember, when you write out 33, it sums to 156. He was a member of the Fabian Society. You know what I mean? It's all Masonry. And Masonry's been doing this for many years by the numbers, since the beginning of this country, since before the beginning of this country. Everything about the U.S. history, the U.S., New World Order nation, everything about it from start to present by the numbers. Manchurians, filling the highest offices of the land like Mike Pence, you know. This man was born to be the vice president to the 45th president. And we'll see if he eventually becomes the president. I'm convinced that Donald Trump's not going to make it the first 4 years. They got a narrative to get rid of this Orange Oompa Loompa. They might even use it to provoke these, manufactured wars further. We'll see. But just understand, everything you see on TV, it was made for TV. This whole camp scene is just a joke. So I'll link all these posts below. Share this information with your family and friends. Get the word out. People need to learn gematria. People need to step their game up. People need to learn to use their noggin. Stop being goy, Until next time.